Super Bowl week. We are presented by Sprint today, live in New York City. Luchador over here. How are we feeling?
Yeah, we got this this T-shirt from Kittle and the Niners. I don't know if you know this, but George Kittle's into the professional wrestling, and he's got his own Luchador mask, and it's Super Bowl week, and I'm going to wear it.
Let's do it.
Right?
Let's go.
Brad, that's Peter Schrager. Nate Burleson is here, and I feel like the energy has really shifted here at the breakfast table. We are hype. We are excited. We are one sleep away from heading down to Miami as a show.
That's right, and there's a bunch of people that were in Miami. The energy was great last night. Super Bowl party is underway. All the stars were out. We'll show you all the fun and the trash talk from opening night. These guys were lit, so stick around for the sound. We're going to break it all down. And it's Tuesday. I usually run through some of the best toe-tapping catches from the week, but today is a little bit different.
Antonio?
What I'm going to do, you see that right there. I'm going to run through the best toe drag swag in Super Bowl history. Woo. That's right, SB edition of toe drag swag. And we've got a Hall of Famer on the show, guys.
Hey.
Got a special one, friend of the show, friend of the network, of course, Kurt Warner.
He's
going to break it down. He knows exactly what this week is like. He's going to talk about the two quarterbacks that had a Super Bowl 54, but also, what is this like? What is this week like leading up to the biggest game ever?
Yeah, they are. Both teams are accounted for, and in Miami, let us go to the lead block.
How about that lead block, huh?
Yeah, let's go to Miami, where we find Omar Ruiz at the Niners Hotel, James Palmer coming to us live from the Chiefs Hotel. Gentlemen, we are very excited, but, and Omar, we're going to start with you here, not a whole lot of Super Bowl experience on either side. How did you feel, and what did you think about how the Niners handled the chaos and sometimes the distraction of Super Bowl 54 opening night?
Well, the 49ers seemed like they all had a great time. I was speaking with Joe Staley, one of the few 49ers who has gone through this process before, the only one to have done it as a 49er. He said it was much different this time around. They were there about an hour before their actual interviews on the different podiums, and he said they had radio interviews, TV interviews, production people telling him to go this way, go that way. He said by the time he actually got to his dais, he was sweating bullets. He was worried that people were going to think that he was nervous about this experience. Couldn't be further from the truth. At the end of his media gathering, Richard Sherman comes up next to me and starts peppering Staley with questions. They had a big laugh about it. Then here comes George Kittle to join the gaggle, and they walked away off stage, all seemingly having a good time. You have a guy like Eric Armstead, who, when the Super Bowl was in Northern California, since he's from there, he was representing one of his local TV stations doing the interviews. Back then, he, of course, getting a lot of the treatment there with so many interviews last night. Emmanuel Sanders, during that Super Bowl, became a world champion who reminded everyone that as awesome as an experience this is, if they get on the plane on Monday, having lost the game, it all means nothing. So as much fun as they seem to have had last night, the focus obviously starting to shift a little bit as we get later in the week. For more now on the Chiefs experience, let's send it over to James Palmer.
Well, thanks, Omar. You talk to guys that have been there before, and there's only two of them on the Chiefs, and all of them kind of say the same thing. When you go and arrive at opening night, that's your first time that you really realize you are playing in the Super Bowl and the spectacle that it has become. But you got to remember what the Chiefs went through. They were in the AFC Championship game a year ago. They have the reigning MVP in Patrick Mahomes, and I spent a lot of time with him this year. Still, every week, it's about a dozen or so media members or less that are attending their sessions throughout the season. So this is a drastic change because of the market size for the Chiefs. When you're one of those guys at those risers, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, you're getting peppered with questions for about an hour that are all over the map from media members from all over the world. Things can get a little bit more interesting than they are maybe with the questions you're getting during the season in Kansas City. But from everybody I spoke to, things were very civil between the two teams as well. 49er pass rusher Dee Ford told me a lot of complimentary things about his former teammates on the Chiefs, and Tyreek Hill with a lot of compliments for Richard Sherman. But there is some craziness, Kay, that goes on there. Remember 1971, Andy Reid, punt, pass, and kick, out there as that very large child. There was a grown man dressed in that exact outfit roaming around media night, and he was maybe one of the people that everybody wanted to talk to, and Andy Reid absolutely loved his presence being there.
The other kids are.
Everybody remembers 1971, James. Great year. Appreciate you and that history lesson. Omar coming to us from Miami. We love you both. We cannot wait to see you. And it sounds like these two teams are going to let their actions speak for them on the field. A relatively calm, civil, amicable affair to kick off Super Bowl week. Back here in studio, let's take a look at opening night from our perspective. NFL Network's greatest were there, Prime and Irv in Miami.
This is your 17th year. How do you feel playing the role that I played when I came to you?
Last time I was out there, I was right in the jungle out there. So,
man, I already apologized.
I was trying to be prime time, but I didn't have the corner skills, man. I had to go to receiver and learn how to get in and out of break just to hang with guys like you.
Prime.
Yes.
I am sorry for all the old jokes.
That's the master of ceremonies right here.
These kids is born in the 90s, and I'm just like...
I love the shirt, man. It's a great shirt.
I've got one for you. It's a little smaller than this one, but I got one for you.
When I got here, they had on the white marshmallow-looking stuff for me, and I said there was no way I was wearing that. You can promise me Andy as I am, but once I heard he was wearing Tommy Bahama, then I knew I was good to wear my own hoodie.
7 straight times they scored touchdowns. You guys scored touchdowns. I said if I was on that defense, I'm just turning in my pads, man. They all just get along. I love all my corners to life. Can y'all all just get along? Joe Montana and Steve Young both took home the bling thing called a ring right here in Miami.
It's up to our team. We got to go take care of business this week, so it'll be a great test for us, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
You know, I think the Honey Badger is just this guy that, shows up when the lights come on.
You have that franchise to its first Super Bowl in 50 years.
We're here. The guys have worked their tail off for it. The coaches have worked hard. And so I'm fired up about that.
We want to go out there. We want to play our best football. We know we're playing a great opponent, but we're going to try to win the game. And, get one for Coach Reed, get one for Kansas City, and then get one for everybody.
Are any of you guys going to pick off any of those guys? Are any of you guys going to beat any of those guys for 6?
I see how y'all set us up out here.
Yeah. Hey, back to you guys. We out here, man.
I mean, he tried. Prime tried his best.
try it.
A little bit too cutesy and nice and even keel for me, Shregs.
You wanted Shannon Sharp calling out,
Yeah.
who was it?
Ray Buchanan.
Ray Buchanan calling out his looks. They weren't getting it last night. There wasn't that, but there was one thing that I thought really stuck out, and it was kind of the storyline that was playing out in the questions that were being asked. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo was a little surprised by it by the end of the night. Over and over again, media members were asking Garoppolo, how did it feel to win a game with just 8 pass attempts? And can this team win with just 8 pass attempts? And Garoppolo over and over again is saying, well, yeah, no, that's the plan. Like, we want to do that. Like, it's good. I think he was asked about 50 times about what's it like playing with such a good run team and such a good defense. Garoppolo was not the center stage quarterback. It wasn't Garoppolo Mahomes last night. It really felt like it was Mahomes versus this great Niners defense. And I think from Jimmy's standpoint and from Kyle Shanahan, an offensive-minded coach, I think they might have been surprised by the way it's been framed by everyone else. But when you do that 2 weeks in a row or you don't have the quarterback lead the way, that might be the storyline. But I'm shocked, almost surprised at how taken aback I was myself with all the questions about how little Jimmy Garoppolo has done, considering he's won 13 games and has also thrown for 300 yards a bunch of times.
Do you think he's disanchanted?
I'm curious, because at no point was it like you versus Mahomes. It was like, how nice is it to have Raheem Mostert on your team? It almost felt like Garoppolo was a passenger on the ride last night, and Mahomes was driving the bus for Kansas City.
We've come a long way from Shannon Sharp to Ray Buchanan. They were saying that's like comparing Dude, Where's My Car to Titanic. That's how long ago that was. And I think it's interesting with Jimmy Garoppolo, because one of the guys who was big was Emmanuel Sanders. And Emmanuel Sanders at one point said, stop comparing Jimmy. Leave Jimmy alone. Stop comparing him to Peyton Manning, to this guy. Jimmy is just Jimmy. And Emmanuel Sanders even said, I've been on other Super Bowl teams. I've never been close than I have with this team. And I've only been with this team a few months. I also think Kyle Shanahan was good last night because there's always one storyline that's beaten to a pulp. Nate, nobody knows better than you. Last year it was Belichick text McVay and everyone, it was just asked it over and over. And for this year, it was Shanahan and his dad. He's asked a lot about his dad, and he was really good on it. He said the best advice that my dad ever gave me was offense is going to come. Watch the defense. That's how you become an offensive master. When I was in Tampa, I watched Monty Kiffin and Tomlin, and I watched Marinelli. That's how he became a master. Totally cool answer, and I think it's going to play out next Sunday.
Think he had his backpack?
I hope so, okay? I hope there's a tracker on that sucker.
Yeah, speaking of defense, what I loved yesterday is Deion Sanders talking to the DBs.
Okay.
Of course, Richard Sherman conversation, we'll get to that. Hopefully we can unpack a little bit of that, him talking to Richard Sherman.
Don't shoot
about
back.
the conversation between him and Darrelle Revis. But what I was paying attention to was when he was talking to Tyrann Mathieu, and it was him sitting there just peppering him with questions. And what I loved was the evolution and the maturity of Tyrann Mathieu. I remember when he came in, he was a little brash. He wanted to prove to everybody just how talented he was, and rightfully so. He had a really dominant, electric, super athletic college career, and then he gets in the league, and he's like, I want to show everybody that. But oftentimes you get in the league, and you can't be the same guy you were for so many years at LSU, which he was. But I remember him talking to Deion yesterday, and he said, well, who is Tyrann Mathieu? Who's the Honey Badger? He's like, well, Honey Badger, he was a guy that wanted to prove to everybody that he was a man. But this guy right now, who I am, I'm just an individual that stands strong with people that stand with me, and I rock with the people that rock with me. And the reason that sat with me yesterday is because for the last few years, we've been attacking this Chiefs defense. And they started to bring in individuals that are true anchor pieces. Tyrann Mathieu, one of them. Frank Clark. And that's, we oftentimes talk about the additions on offense, but the reason they're here, let's just be very clear, is that they added guys on defense that brought stability to this team and also leadership to the squad.
Guys, I'm looking for every little tell, advantage, thing in the pro-con column between these two teams. We're going to have to make a pick when we're in Miami ahead of this game, and it's really hard. So I thought watching last night, like, let me look for, like, who's nervous, who's not. Like, I do believe last year the Rams were a little bit more like uppity, and they're a little more tense or more excited. And the Patriots were like, "This is business." Belichick was like, "Check, I'm like we're good." Next,
What'd you say
these
this
two
year?
teams they're so equal. There's so much freshness and the perfect amount of veteran presence and innovation. Like, it's crazy to have a Super Bowl. We haven't had one in a while where it's so evenly matched as far as, I feel like, experience in handling these moments. And I don't know if anybody did it better than anybody on any level.
No one dropped the ball. There was no trash talk that was anything considered toxic, and yet you could tell both teams really wanted to win this game.
Yeah, I feel like they're both going to handle it perfectly all the way through. Like, that narrative of the Super Bowl being too big isn't going to affect them, especially given Shanahan's experience.
No one respects the Pats dynasty more than me. It was nice to have two new teams last night.
Yeah.
It was a nice, like, the variety cereal box. It was nice. Kittle and Kelsey. I like the Pats, but it's
the little.
I like it. I like the frosted flakes, but give me the apple. Come on.
Remember when we met Steve Smith and he was buying those?
Fruit Loops.
Like that variety bag of chips.
I like it.
Morning Football on the way. Who would have thought there'd be one